Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Thunder Weekly. I'm Rick Heath. With me, Mark Rogers, and we are at the best cigar store in Norman, and that's Royal Pipes right here next to us, and the best cigar bar in Norman, Cohiba Lounge, right here in Norman and Jenkins and Boyd. And we are enjoying an afternoon that's a spring afternoon.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely beautiful.
It's absolutely beautiful. You're right. One of the best time of the year right now.
It is right now. I mean, you got March Madness coming up. You got, without too much further in the distance, you got the NBA playoffs. Unfortunately, the Thunder are not going to make the playoffs, which is good. That is good news because they are going to get a lottery pick, and they may get even more than that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the question I have for you, Mark, on this upcoming year, is the tanking over with? The Thunder tank a lot. I'm getting tired of it.
It's over. Next season, they'll have a couple of pretty decent draft picks, and I think that they'll be looking to try to compete. And if you know, the sad part about this is if you look at the draft picks that are coming up, they're really heavily protected. Not many of them are going to be lottery picks. Some of them may go away eventually. The best that they can hope for is some swaps with the Rockets or the Clippers, and say, hey, if the Clippers fall apart and go bad, then Oklahoma City, there's not as protections on those. So again, this next year, you got to hope the ping pong balls bounce in their favor in the draft coming up.
Yeah, 2022 draft, it's got to come up. They've got an opportunity. They have their own. They have the Clippers, and they have the Suns. Now, the Suns is going to be 30 plus.
Right.
The Clippers, well, we were thinking maybe they have a chance to get in the lottery there, and it doesn't look like that. And then, of course, they've got their own. And you got to hope that it's a top 4 or better and go from there.
Well, the Clippers would have a chance to be in the lottery. They just depends on what they're going to do in the play-in. I don't think the Clippers are going to rise up.
They haven't been listening to my memos here, Mark. They keep winning when I keep saying lose.
Yeah, the other LA team is the one that is losing.
Yeah,
no
I
matter
wish
what.
the Lakers picked. I mean, of course, they
matter
don't
what.
have any picks. They traded them all off for nebulous players. But hey, we are at Cohiba Lounge, the best cigar store cigar bar in Norman, next to Cohiba Lounge, which is the best cigar store in Norman. And we're talking with you about the Thunder on Thunder Weekly. Mark Rogers, Rick Heath. We'll be right back.
EDS Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for auto body repair. Whether it be from hail damage, dents, scratches, or even glass replacement and repair, we can accommodate all your needs. Locally owned and operated since 2005, EDS Paintless Dent Repair is here for you. Give us a call at 405-476-1763 or go to edspaintlessdentrepair.com.
Okay, sports fans, you know, we do the Thunder Weekly each week, but there's a lot of things I like to support that are Oklahoma products. I like to go around and do shows from Oklahoma businesses, but one of the businesses I want to talk about is Prairie Wolf Distillery, now Wander Folk Spirits. Wander Folk Spirits distilled out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Great line of spirits. They have Wander Folk Gin, Wander Folk Vodka, and Old Moses Bourbon. All of these are quality products, and they're distilled right here in Oklahoma. So if you come to like Cohiba Lounge, ask for a Wander Folk Gin and Tonic, or ask for a Wander Folk Vodka and Tonic, or a club special. It's getting where you can get that now. It's getting warmer. A vodka club special made with Wander Folk Vodka. Great selection, and you're supporting Oklahoma businesses. So support Oklahoma business. Ask your favorite restaurant or bar to carry Wander Folk Spirits.
1978, before the internet, before cell phones. That's when Basie's Roofing was founded. A lot has changed since then, but what hasn't is Basie's commitment to helping customers just like you deal with damage to their roofs and home after a storm. You never pay up front, and there's absolutely zero risk. It's been that way since 1978. Now maybe we're a little old-fashioned, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, well, give us a call.
Basie's Roofing, the name you can trust.
And welcome back, Thunder Weekly. Mark Rogers, Rick Heath here from Cohiba Lounge. Boyd and Jenkins here in Norman, the best cigar bar in Norman. If you don't have a cigar, that's fine. You can walk right next door, have the best selection of cigars in Norman, giant walk-in humidor, all available to you. And don't forget, they're going to have on the OU Spring Game Day, they're going to have Joe Washington the day before, on the 22nd. Joe Washington will be here all evening. Come have a cigar with Joe Washington, a lot of the OU alums, because they're having Smoke Through the Keyhole cigar event in the Joe Washington Cigar Edition. So that's April 22nd. Lots of former OU players, including Coach Bob Stoops was here last year, Barry Switzer, lots of people here. They have food, cigars, cocktails, and autographs, all available on April 22nd. Here for the Joe Washington Smoke Through a Keyhole cigar event. Mark, let's go through the positives for the Thunder right now. I mean, they've got the largest treasure trove of picks ever in the NBA. The question is, as you said in the first segment, can they turn them into the kind of players and team that they need to make this franchise be successful again?
Hey, you can hit on players all over the draft. Giannis Antetokounmpo around 15, Kawhi Leonard, same spot. Nikola Jokic is the second-round player. So, just got to do a good job of getting them. I like the way that the draft has gone the last couple of years. I think Oklahoma City they're competitive. If they're healthy, Lou Dort is out there. I think one thing that they'll have to do in the offseason, whether they do it through the draft or they do it through free agency, is they're going to have to acquire some rim defense, which is very important. And that's why we're seeing Oklahoma City give up a ton of points right now, is that they just don't have, with Lou Dort sitting, don't have much at the rim that can stop other teams. And so to compete, you have to add that piece. I don't know who that might be. It could be in different forms. And so I think once they do that, the perimeter players on Oklahoma City, Lou, SGA, Giddey, Trey, whoever it might be, I think that's the core, maybe the core four right there, with help from Kenrich, who's a very physical player, that they're going to be right there with teams like San Antonio, Sacramento, maybe New Orleans, that are competing in the West right now. New Orleans has made some moves that have turned out pretty well for them, I think. Plus they have Zion next year. You would think that he comes back and plays. Yeah,
the Phantom Zion. I mean, because he's there on the bench, which he hadn't been up until the last week or so.
Right.
But good for them. But here's what I always wanted Sam Presti to look at, is after this year, as you so readily pointed out, the next year's 2023, 2024, and 25, all of those picks are mostly heavily protected, okay? So you may or may not even be able to get a good player at that particular point. Use all those and try to go all in on this year's draft and get the upper echelon of this year's draft. And we're going to talk about the players available. There's some really good players available this year. The Thunder have their own, which should be a top 5. The Clippers, which if they would have cooperated like I asked them to, that would have been a lottery pick. And then the Suns, the Suns could be a package deal along with, whomever on the Thunder, to be able to trade off and get some viable young players in here. Not necessarily rookies, but 2 years ago, both Bridges were available. Mikhail from the Hornets and Malcolm, the Bridges from the Suns.
Right, yeah.
Both of those were available.
Right.
I mean, they could have been had because that first year they weren't very good. So if you can identify, and Sam Presti, one of the best things he does is make trades. He's okay on drafting, and it's been pretty good, but he is absolutely the best trader in the NBA as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and the draft picks can be traded, but I think also too, you're going to have to. There will be some free agents come into Oklahoma City, and based on the way that the Oklahoma City has spent their money, they're going to be able to maybe attract a couple people that they'll overpay for, because that's how life in the small market is in the NBA. Free agents, you're probably going to have to overpay for a little bit, maybe into the guy that hasn't earned a lot of money in his career, that wants a contract that's going to be good. So we'll see how that goes for Oklahoma City. But again, like I said, guards, good shape. Front court, need some help. Rim defense need a lot of help. That's going to be the things that help them compete.
Yeah, they've got to pick up somebody like that. And if the Clippers with Kawhi out and Paul George out, I thought, man, perfect scenario. Tank City, they're going to go down. They keep winning.
Reggie Jackson,
yeah,
playing
Reggie
good.
Jackson. Hey, he's finally getting his revenge on Sam Presti for trading me.
He might be. That's right.
Hey, we are at Cohiba Lounge here in Norman, the best cigar bar in Norman. And it's right next door to the Royal Pipes cigar humidor where you can get that wonderful cigar. Come over to the Cohiba Lounge and have a cigar and a favorite drink. Watch your favorite sporting event, which, hey, it's going to be soon, March Madness.
EDS Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for auto body repair. Whether it be from hail damage, dents, scratches, or even glass replacement and repair, we can accommodate all your needs. Locally owned and operated since 2005, EDS Paintless Dent Repair is here for you. Give us a call at 405-476-1763 or go to edspaintlessdentrepair.com.
1978, before the internet, before cell phones. That's when Basie's Roofing was founded. A lot has changed since then, but what hasn't is Basie's commitment to helping customers just like you deal with damage to their roofs and home after a storm. You never pay up front and there's absolutely zero risk. It's been that way since 1978. Now maybe we're a little old-fashioned, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, well, give us a call.
Basie's Roofing, the name you can trust.
Sports fans, Cohiba Lounge and Royal Pipes and Tobacco. Why do I mention those together? Because you got one, you've got the other. Royal Pipes and Tobacco in Norman has the best selection of cigars in Norman. They got a huge humidor with all the top brands. Rocky Patel, Cohiba, of course, and all the other, Romeo Juliet, all the top brands are available at Royal Pipes, and they have great prices on these. And if you'd like, you can walk right next door and adjacent to the Cohiba Lounge, light your cigar up, get a refreshing drink, and watch your favorite sporting event here at Cohiba Lounge, Royal Pipes and Tobacco in Norman, Jenkins and Boyle.
At Laser Light Skin Clinic, our most popular treatment is now more affordable than ever. Right now, you can save up to 50% on Cool Sculpting, the #1 choice for non-invasive fat reduction. Our flexible treatment plans allow you to choose the option that is perfect for you. Focus on a single problem area or revive your life with a fresh new you. These are real results. For your personal Cool Sculpting consultation, call Laser Light Skin Clinic today. A new you awaits.
Let me talk about one of my favorite places in Deep Deuce to eat and drink, and that's Bar Cicchetti. Bar Cicchetti with great menu, and they're featuring a wonderful brunch. If you haven't had brunch yet at Bar Cicchetti, you got to do it. It's available on Sundays. Wonderful new menu for brunch, and it is inventive and creative, and it changes every week. So if you're looking for a great place for a brunch, Bar Cicchetti on Northeast 2nd in Deep Deuce, great place to go for brunch. And during the week, they have great dinner specials as well as drink specials every day at Bar Cicchetti, Northeast 2nd Street in Deep Deuce. Also, they have the biggest big screen in Oklahoma City to watch your favorite sporting events. So if you're looking for food, drinks, and sports, go to Bar Cicchetti, Northeast 2nd Street in Deep Deuce. And welcome back, Thunder Weekly. Mark Rogers, Rick Heath, here at the Cohiba Lounge. Hey, there's something else in Norman you need to know about, and now all over the state, and that's Jam Neighborhood breakfast and lunch. Brunch also. Jam's a great place. They got great breakfast, great brunch, and great lunch all. And now they have 5 locations here in the state. They've got a new one in Edmond, and one in Norman, one in Midtown, one in Edmond, one in Tulsa. So they got 4 great locations, and one in Northeast, 150th and Penn. So they got 5 great locations. Great lunch, great brunch, great breakfast at Neighborhood Jams. Mark, so the Thunder have 3 number 1s, as we've talked about. Their own, the Clippers. I think the Clippers, top 15 maybe, you hope better, but probably right around there.
Well, I think the way that this works is that if, say they you got to be in the playoffs to make the lottery. So if they're eliminated before the play-in games, if they're eliminated before they get to the top 8, then that pick could go into the lottery. And so we'll see how that shakes out.
I always thought, what an ironic turn of events. Last year, the Thunder had a really, really good chance to get the top pick, and they ended up getting 6th, which is about as bad as it could have got.
Right.
And this year, their own, whoever knows where that goes, but wouldn't it be great if the Clippers fell into the lottery and that one chance out of 423 hit like New Orleans did with Zion, and they got the number 1 pick off of the Clippers pick?
Well, it's a better chance than that. I mean, like, if you're in the lottery, you got a chance. I mean, and it's spread out pretty evenly between the teams. Like, even if you have the worst record in the league, you still have a 24% chance of getting the first pick or something like that, but which is better than what everybody else has. But still, Detroit's winning some games right now. I don't think that Oklahoma City is going to fall below Orlando or Houston. Detroit, I think, has a chance for Oklahoma City to be in the mix there. Houston
Thunder play Orlando twice, Detroit once
that'll
in
be
the
fun.
last 19 games. So, yeah, who can take the best?
That's right. Houston, I think they're clearly going to be at the bottom of the barrel, so we'll see.
I got to repeat this. 2 things I want to talk about the Thunder real quick. Number 1, Dagnall, the coach, said, hey, we're trying to win as hard as we can. With one hand tied behind you? Yeah, you got 6 guys behind you that aren't really hurt that are sitting. So don't tell me about that. And number 2, thank goodness for those 6 guys sitting out, because there's a player with Oklahoma connections, Lindy Waters, that's getting to play that ordinarily wouldn't have had this chance. And good for Lindy Waters. I think that's one of the best stories in the NBA.
He's making some shots, which is good. But yeah, the Thunder bench, the rotation of the Thunder bench, Olivier Sarr, Lindy, those guys are going to have a hard time being on a rotation and on a roster for a team that's going to try to compete. But I'm happy for him that he's getting a shot.
And that's what I was talking last night to a bunch of people on Twitter, was for Lindy Waters. Does he have a place on the Thunder? Probably not, because they've got 3 number 1, 2 number 2s, and all that stuff. But if he can just land on somebody's radar and make a roster, good for him.
Yeah, that's no question about it. Maybe it's here in Oklahoma City as part of the bench.
I hope so. He's a good kid. Okay, the top picks that the Thunder can be looking at right here, and I'll go over them with you real quick. Some people have Chet Holmgren, the 7-foot Gonzaga center. What are your thoughts on him?
Love him as a player. Think that he's got great skill for his size. I think he moves pretty well. I'm not sure he's going to be the number 1 pick. I mean, to me, the best player in college basketball, the best pick going forward to translate in the NBA is Jabari Smith. And I think really anybody can use him because he's a wing player. He's got shot blocking ability. He can score. And I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be the number 1 pick. Now, depending on who's ahead of Oklahoma City, then you start talking about drafting for need to a certain extent. And some of the teams ahead of Oklahoma City need guards, whereas Oklahoma City is pretty guard heavy.
Yeah.
And that's where you could start to see things get pretty interesting. Oklahoma City could potentially trade one of their guards in a deal to a team ahead of them if they want to move up a spot or 2 spots along those lines. You just don't know. But I think that to me, the top 3 in this draft are Banchero from Duke, Smith from Auburn, and Holmgren from Gonzaga.
Yeah, we got Holmgren on that, 7-foot. Jabari Smith, 6'10" from Auburn. He's pretty much all around. I'm agreeing with you. To me, he's the number 1 prospect, considering everything, because of how he's going to project.
Right.
Not necessarily the number 1 player now, but how he's going to project. I think so. And Banchero from Duke, 6'9", wing guy. He's pretty complete, but he's not the most explosive of the group.
No, and his stock could fall some, and there's people that could really fall in love with Jaden Ivey at Purdue. He's a good player. Oklahoma City, I don't think they would want him again because he's a guard.
I like him, though. I think
he's a good player.
Hey, let's finish this up in the next segment. We are at Cohiba Lounge here in Norman, and we'll be right back with more. And welcome back, Thunder Weekly. Mark Rogers, Rick Heath here from Cohiba Lounge. And don't forget, Jams Breakfast. That's right. Neighborhood Jams Breakfast, lunch, and brunch. 5 locations in the state now. one in Norman on Main Street, one in Midtown, one 150th and Penn in Oklahoma City, one on 2nd Street in Edmond, and now location in soon to open in Tulsa. So jams with biscuits about that big and every kind of breakfast item you'd like available. And if you want to order in or order a place to sit down and not have to wait in line, that's myjamok.com. It's where you need to go. You can order food to go pick up. You can reserve your place in line, or you can just talk to them over the internet. That's myjamok.com. All right, Mark, let's go back over these guys again. You got Chet Holmgren. One of those guys, his skill level is really, really good, but he's so skinny that the fear is he'll get moved around and banged around. So that one, I'm kind of, for the Thunder, I'm just kind of, because you already got a couple of those guys. You got Poku and everything else, but Jabari Smith, we're both agreed. If you're number one, you take him. Banchero is good, but he's probably 4 or 5, and he can help. But Jaden Ivey, I think Jaden Ivey is going to prove to be as good as anybody in this draft for what he does, but he's a guard. And unless Sam Presti says, okay, look, I want Jaden Ivey, I'm trading SGA, or I'm trading Trey Mann, or I'm trading Giddey, which I doubt that they would do. I think he's untouchable.
Right.
And I think SGA should be. But anyway, Jaden Ivey is going to be one of the better pros in this draft.
I like him a lot. I agree. His outside shot, 3-point range, he's going to have to show that he can step out to where the NBA 3-point line is. But his ability to get to the basket is really good. Sometimes he misses his free throws. I'd like to see him shoot a little bit better there, but I don't think Oklahoma City is going to be interested in taking him.
All right, they got A.J. Griffin, 6'9" forward, wing guy from
Duke.
From Duke. A.J. Griffin, what are your thoughts?
Like him. Definitely would be on Oklahoma City's radar. I think so. I think one thing to say about Chet Holmgren, too, is that, the NBA low post game anymore, and I know Sam Presti views it as a 5-in, 5-out type of situation. He's good enough defensively where on the perimeter, he's not, great, but I would say that, he, to me, is like a Porzingis in Dallas. I mean, he's a little skinnier than him, but I think he's got skills that are as good as that.
I think that's a good complimentary position there because he's like that. He's very tall, can shoot the outside shot, can handle the ball, can get to the rim, and has some skills to block, but his only, I guess the major drawback, of course, is his lack of stature. It's kind of skinny. A.J. Griffin, of course, and then Jalen Duren, Memphis center. He's 6'11". He's raw. Doesn't have a whole lot of offense, but he's still a good rim protector. Still a good. He could get out and run with you. So that's a player that if you had that Clippers pick that fell, 8, 9, 10, 11, something like that, he might be one that you'd look at.
Yeah, especially how the draft unfolds. I mean, listen, those picks are going to be. They'll be pretty good. I mean, there's a shot that Oklahoma City could absolutely find a steal somewhere in that range where the Clippers will be picking.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk real quickly about how everything is shaking out in the playoffs, moving towards the NBA playoffs. I had a thought the other night that what if Daryl Morey, in his quest for getting James Harden, handed the keys to the playoff to the Nets?
Right.
He acquired Harden, but he gave up Ben Simmons, gave up Seth Curry, and he gave up Drummond. All right, that filled the holes that the Nets had.
Right.
So what happens? I mean, I think how ironic that would be that Morey held out, then he wants Harden, and he actually gives up. Your thoughts on that?
I think that the Sixers are in this for more than just this year, and I think they improved their team quite a bit, and they could not utilize Ben Simmons. He wasn't going to work for them going forward. Tell me when we're going to see Ben Simmons. I mean, Ben Simmons is not a reliable guy. Issues be whatever they may, he walked away from the team, period. And he didn't stay in shape apparently enough to be ready to come back if they wanted to.
I agree with you on that. I am very low on Ben Simmons.
I'm low on him too, but if they don't have him, just trading James Harden for Seth Curry and Andre Drummond is not going to work out. The Nets are in good shape though because they have Kyrie and they have KD, and Kevin Durant's the best player in basketball. When you got the best player in basketball to work around, then you got a shot.
And at some point, even Kyrie is going to be a factor in the playoffs because at some point, I think he's going to be eligible to play.
Should be. I think that's coming pretty quickly.
I think that's what's going to happen. Hey, that's going to do it for this week's show from Cohiba Lounge and Royal Pipes. Don't forget, if you're looking for a place for breakfast, Neighborhood Jams, 5 locations in the state. For Mark Rogers, I'm Rick Heath. We'll see you next time here on Thunder Weekly.